This is kind of a Batman video. I want to talk about where I think partially where Batman comes from. And since I already kind of made a Catwoman video, and you can kind of see where some of that stuff comes from, I know that I'm doing like a Greek monster video playlist, which I will continue after this. I will keep talking about the Greek monsters and current monsters, but I really wanted to add this in there because I discovered it by accident when I was looking into the Peter Pan situation. Obviously, Batman is not a real guy. Okay, he's a fantasy, but some of the stuff that Batman is based off of is actually real. First of all, Batman, you know who Batman is. He is the angel of Gotham. Okay. And when it talks about how, these superheroes, they protect a city, like, Superman protects Metropolis. Batman protects Gotham. He's like, and it reminds me in the Bible of how there's like a prince, or there's a principality over a city. There's a fake protector. All right, in the Bible, Archangel Michael has to fight the prince of Persia, and they're depicted like angels. All right, and because it's a false protection, you're supposed to fight for God's lot on that land, right? So that reminds me. It just reminds me of these superheroes. How these superheroes are like winged, or flying princes or principalities over a city. Gotham was a real place. Okay, Gotham was a real place in New York City in the early 1900s. Okay, and I don't think any of that stuff is coincidence. Okay, they based characters off of real life things, just like they based Peter Pan off of real life things that were happening during the time. And that just so happens to be around the time that the Batman comics were being written. So I don't think that's a coincidence, okay? Gotham was a real place, but it was very, very dirty and nasty. It was actually known. It was called Gotham Court. It was a place in New York. And it became famously known for being a very seedy, nasty place. Okay, there was a bunch of people crammed in. Gotham Court was 2 rows of buildings. Okay, in the middle of the aisle was where, and basically everyone just hung out in the alley. It was literally just a big long courtyard. Okay, and there was lots of really bad things happening there. They had no plumbing. They were just throwing their stuff out in the street. The kids were running around with no parents. There was it was very, very poor, obviously. There was lots of drug dealings, and there was lots of prostitution. And it was a very small area. It was only 2 courtyard. It was only a alleyway. It was like a big long alleyway where this was all happening. But it became very famously known for being nasty and dirty and seedy. And there was cholera and all kinds of really nasty diseases in this area because sanitation was so bad. It was a courtyard, but it was on a street called Cherry Lane, okay? And it was very nasty. Anyway, I wanted to bring up this picture that I found. They have a Medusa-like depiction of over Gotham Court, okay? And you might wonder why. It's because you can use Medusa to explain lots of things, which is what this artist is probably doing. So Medusa has a bunch of snakes on her head, which could represent many types of venom and poison. And that is probably what's going on in this picture, okay? There's obviously men drinking and smoking, and there's, lots of taking of poison. So that's probably why this artist did a Medusa thing over Gotham Court, which I think is very interesting. There's even some gambling and prostitution metaphors. So, and then there's Medusa controlling all of it. And yeah, and there's lots of music playing, it looks like. And that's a very good description of Gotham Court. And even in the Batman movies, Gotham is a very dark, nasty city, right? If you watch any of these Batman movies, it's a very dark, grimy place. And it's probably because it's based off of Gotham Court. And you can literally even see that they still use Gotham Court imagery in the actual Batman movies. This is a picture of Gotham Court. It's 2 buildings and there's a big alleyway. That's what Gotham Court is. And look at these Batman pictures. There's Batman. And that's a big courtyard with 2 buildings. That's literally the depictions of Gotham Court. And no, I don't think it's by an accident. It's literally the same pictures. And that's so crazy because even in these earlier Batman movies, you ever notice that Batman is usually fighting in an alleyway or a big courtyard, because it's Gotham Court imagery still that they're still using. And I don't even know if they're doing that consciously, because they just keep copying each other. Alright? You ever know these Batman movies? He's always fighting people in the alley or in the courtyard. The alley, that's because it comes from Gotham Court. Okay, now you can go ahead and think this is a coincidence, but I don't think it is. There may have even been clowns in Gotham Court. For sure there were clowns in the city. In big large cities they had some clowns on the streets, okay? And I will explain why. I'm obviously saying that for a reason, because one of Batman's main adversaries is the clown, right? Joker. Anyway, so no, really, there may have been clowns there, and I don't have any photos of that, per se, in Gotham Court, but this was the same time frame. Clowns were usually with the circus or with the fair, but sometimes really bad clowns that were really drunk, or they got caught doing something really bad, they got kicked out of the circus for being drunk or being nasty or something, okay? And what they would have to do is they would have to do street performances in the ghettos for money. Ghettos just as in New York City and Gotham Court. So yes, it's highly likely that there were clowns in Gotham Court, but there are definitely clowns in New York City roaming around. Okay, but they were usually drunks or they're perverts or something, okay? So yeah, Gotham Court and half of New York City was very nasty. There were literally clowns running around. It had drunk clowns running around everywhere. And I have to bring up something else. This is when opium bars were legal, okay? So lots of times these people, maybe some of them were clowns, and I have to bring that up, okay? A lot of these people, especially in the ghettos, they were addicted to opium, all right? And I know people are going to say that this is just a coincidence, but I see the connection, so I'm going to go ahead and bring it up. You know how the Joker's hair is green, right? People in an opium bars, they would sleep on a green Jade pillow for days, even for weeks, and it would stain their hair green sometimes. So the Joker could represent a drunk clown or a clown addicted to opium who got kicked out of the circus, and his hair's green because he was an opium addict. And I have to bring that up. I don't think any of that stuff is a coincidence. I think people just take things from the past and put them in movies. So yeah, you can totally see, I hope, where they got Batman and Gotham City from. It's from New York, obviously, and Gotham was a real place, and it was really nasty, dirty, nasty place. And there were even maniac clowns running around everywhere. That is pretty terrifying. It's horrible. But so obviously something happened. The government stepped in and cleaned everything up. No, the government did not do anything. This was way before laws were even a thing. They didn't have child abuse laws. They had nothing. Okay, the government did not care about any of these people. Okay, most of the time the government was ran by the mob anyway. At this time, no one cared. But someone did care. Batman came and saved everyone. No, not exactly. A group of heroes did come and save not just Gotham City, but New York City. Okay, it's very famously known that missionaries came and saved New York City and Gotham Court. Not the government, not Batman, Spider-Man, blah, 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 blah. Missionaries did. True story. It was missionaries that would come in and try to help these people, and that's been happening since the early 1600s, okay? And everyone knows that this is what happened, okay? Missionaries came in and tried to clean up the city. I'm actually going to read this paragraph talking about how evangelicals have always tried to help the people in New York City, not the government or anything, okay? Then this introductory chapter discusses the importance of religion in the development of New York City between the American Revolution and the Civil War and all the way up until the early 1900s, okay? New York's evangelical population was never large, but it had an unmistakable influence on urban life and development. As developers prepared to open new neighborhoods uptown, evangelicals stood ready to build meeting houses. As the city emerged as a commercial center, evangelicals capitalized on the resultant wealth, technology, and resources to expand their missionary tract and benevolent causes. And when evangelicals felt the city morals had degenerated, they turned to temperance, Sunday schools, anti-slavery, and other innovatives to reform its residents, who in turn responded vigorously with indifference. That's a surprise. Most people don't want to be saved. They'd rather live in filth and do what they want. They'd rather be a crazed opium up clown, right? So they responded with indifference, occasional violence, and conversion. The result of their own efforts was an evangelical Gotham, a complicated and contradictory world whose influence spread far beyond the shores of Manhattan. So who was there trying to fight this crime? It was missionaries, not stupid superheroes. Or you, even better yet, you can say these missionaries were these superheroes. And they totally just stole all that. This was very famous back then. They just stole these stories and made them into comic books. Superheroes, okay? Because people were really trying to fight crime and save these people. And no, it wasn't all these superheroes. It was missionaries. And it wasn't just in New York. It was everywhere, okay? Just like the Red Cross, missionaries started the Red Cross. But of course, Christians don't get credit for that. Stupid other people do, okay? Yes, it's very nice to help people, but if you don't do it in the name of God, it's pointless, okay? Because you're supposed to save people's souls, not just save their lives, right? And I wanted to point out that these missionaries were multiracial. They weren't just a bunch of white guys. They were immigrants who became missionaries, or maybe they were already Christian when they came over here. I don't know, it could be a mixed. And it's so funny because they even had clowns that reformed themselves. Alright, I think I'm going to end the video there. It was a short video, but I wanted to keep it kind of short because I didn't want to make an hour-long Batman video. Anyway, so, I think that they just stole all this stuff and and this is a classic example of how evil, Satan, steals things from God and takes credit for it. And these people obviously when these Batman comic books were being written, this was all happening, or at the end of it happening. And I don't think any of that is by accident. I think they knew that they were stealing it, and they changed the story. And that's just what happens. People steal from God, and they claim to make it cool, and they try to, they rob God of the glory. Anyway, so this is me trying to give a little bit of it back. Alright, so please think about this stuff, guys, and thank you.